In the 1950s, science didn't just promise flying cars and moon colonies. It also turned perfectly normal people into lizard men, slime blobs, cavemen, and radioactive rage monsters. These are the best man becomes monster B-movies of the 50s. Because sometimes the biggest transformation isn't personal growth, it's growing extra heads.
No, it can't be.
A scientist gets a hearty dose of radiation and starts transforming into a reptilian creature, but only when exposed to sunlight. Yep, he's basically a were-lizard, but solar-powered. By day, he's a snarling, scaly nightmare that looks like a rejected Godzilla cousin with poopy pants. By night, just your average sweaty guy in a crumpled suit downing whiskey and lurking in alleyways. The film tries to be tragic, but it plays more like a PSA for SPF 100. He could have avoided the whole thing with a nice floppy hat and maybe a parasol. Instead, he stumbles around Los Angeles like the world's most confused iguana. It's part noir, part creature feature, and 100% committed to its rubbery-faced chaos. And hey, it's probably the only monster movie where the big threat is the weather forecast. You know that old saying, don't teleport yourself while a fly is in the chamber? No? Well, The Fly makes a pretty convincing case for it. A brilliant scientist invents a matter transporter and decides to test it on himself. Because what could possibly go wrong? Answer: everything. A housefly sneaks into the pod, their atoms do a little remixing, and boom, we get a man with the body of a man and the head of a fly. At first, he wears a hood like a mysterious bug-themed Phantom of the Opera. And when that hood comes off, let's just say it's not a look that will catch on in Paris. Meanwhile, the actual fly, the one with the scientist's head, ends up screaming, "Help me!" in a spiderweb. It's one of the most haunting and unintentionally hilarious moments in B-movie history. Equal parts tragic romance, sci-fi horror, and entomology nightmare, The Fly reminds us that advanced science should always include a bug check. And maybe just take the bus if you want to send yourself somewhere. At least you won't end up with compound eyes and a craving for sugar cubes. A newlywed bride searches for her missing husband and finds him living deep in the Louisiana swamps, hiding a serious case of scaly skin syndrome. Turns out he was injured, signed up for some cutting-edge treatments, and ended up slowly turning into an alligator. As one does. What follows is part creature feature, part Southern Gothic fever dream. Enter Lon Chaney Jr. as a one-handed handyman with a hook, a flask, and a personal vendetta against gators.
Dirty, stinking, slimy gators.
He spends the movie sweating profusely, shouting at the swamp, and swinging that hook around like he's auditioning for a different movie entirely. The Gator Man makeup looks like someone glued bacon to a wetsuit, but hey, it's got charm. And if you're into tragic romances where the groom turns cold-blooded literally, this one's for you. An American reporter in Tokyo is just trying to get a good story. Instead, he gets injected with mystery goo by a mad scientist who clearly skipped every ethics class. At first, it's subtle, a little moodiness, some late-night strolls, mild murder. But then, he starts growing a second head out of his shoulder. And it's not a cute twin situation. This thing looks like it crawled out of a fever dream and wants its own social security number. Eventually, the second head becomes its own body, and things go full-on double feature, literally. The Manster is a Japanese-American co-production that answers the eternal question, what if Dr. Jekyll had to share a wardrobe with Mr. Hyde? at the same time.
I know they're gonna catch me, but don't let anyone see me like that. Please, doctor, help me.
Meet Tony, your average angsty teen with a bad temper, a cool Letterman jacket, and a tendency to hurl milk at people when provoked. After one too many mood swings and cafeteria outbursts, he ends up in the office of a psychologist who, naturally, decides the best course of treatment is hypnotic regression therapy that turns him into a werewolf. Thanks, Doc. By night, he terrorizes the town. By day, he's brooding in class and dodging eye contact like every teenager ever, just with a bit more facial hair and murder. This one's part horror, part juvenile delinquent drama, and all metaphor for puberty. Unpredictable rage, hair where there wasn't hair before, a sudden craving for raw meat. It's basically Health Class the movie. And while the werewolf makeup is delightfully shaggy, the real monster here is teenage hormones. Also, seriously, who throws a glass of milk like that? Werewolf or not, that's a red flag. College professor Dr. Donald Blake gets a delivery. A frozen coelacanth, a prehistoric living fossil that's supposed to be educational, not deadly. But this ancient fish has been marinating in gamma rays, and things spiral fast. First, a dragonfly lands on it and turns into a 2-foot monster bug. Then Blake kills it, lights up his pipe, and accidentally smokes a few drops of its radioactive blood. Yep, he gets absolutely baked on mutant bug blood. The side effects may include dizziness, memory loss, and turning into a snarling caveman with a brow so big it needs its own campus map. Soon Blake is blacking out, people are turning up dead, and the biology department looks like it got hit by a mammoth. All because of one fish and one extremely unfortunate smoke break. Monster on the campus is a perfect storm of atomic age anxiety, pipe-based science malpractice, and caveman carnage. It's what happens when higher education meets lower evolution. What do you get when a nuclear test goes wrong and people start melting instead of mutating? You get the H-Man, Japan's answer to what if radiation turned you into a radioactive slime ghost? Set in the neon-lit back alleys of Tokyo, this one mixes gangster noir with gooey sci-fi horror. Mobsters are mysteriously disappearing, but it's not the cops picking them off. It's melting. Their clothes are found in neat little piles, but their bodies, gone, dissolved. Like a mob hit directed by a bottle of acid. Turns out these guys have been turned into formless, glowing sludge creatures that drip around the city like sentient jellyfish with a grudge. They don't walk, they ooze. And when they touch you, say goodbye to your skeleton. The H-Man blends crime drama with radioactive horror in the best possible way. It's stylish, spooky, and packed with that special kind of 50s dread where science doesn't just ruin your life, it liquefies it.
Here, you better take these. They'll help you.
No.
In this one, lycanthropy meets nuclear paranoia, because apparently even werewolves weren't safe from Cold War science. A drifter stumbles into a quiet mountain town, confused, dazed, and also very bitey. Why? Because two scientists injected him with a survival serum designed to help humans withstand nuclear fallout. Unfortunately, the side effects include turning into a snarling werewolf under stress, which, let's be honest, is a huge design flaw. He doesn't even need a full moon. Just a bad day and boom, fur, fangs, and an uncontrollable urge to maul the locals. Unlike most werewolf flicks, the werewolf actually leans into tragedy. This isn't a monster by choice. He's a test subject on the run. chased by torch-wielding townsfolk, and just trying not to explode into a murder beast every time someone asks him a question. Moral of the story: if a couple of strangers offer you an experimental serum in a small-town clinic, maybe ask a few follow-up questions. Lieutenant Dan Prescott is determined to be the first man into space, and he succeeds, sort of. He flies higher than anyone before. Then his ship gets pelted with cosmic dust and radiation, forcing him to eject. Dan returns home not as a hero, but as a bloodthirsty, oxygen-hungry mutant that looks like someone deep-fried a Muppet and rolled it in asphalt. Now he's shambling around the countryside, killing people for their blood like a space vampire with a lava fetish. His brother, a more responsible astronaut, tries to figure out what went wrong, which is hard when the solution is, maybe don't launch into space unshielded and alone. First Man into Space is part sci-fi thriller, part tragic monster movie, and 100% proof that the space race had some weird detours. This British gem kicks off when a rocket crash lands back on Earth, but only one of the 3 astronauts is still inside. That one, Victor, isn't looking too hot. He's dazed, silent, and slowly transforming into something that's less man and more fungal nightmare. By the time Quatermass and his crew figure out what's happening, Victor's more alien than astronauts. The creature effects are impressive for the time. All practical, all gross. They even used actual cow entrails and tripe for the final monster, and a live octopus for those slimy close-ups. Atmospheric, grim, and way moodier than your average 50s B-movie, the Quatermass Experiment gives us a man becomes monster story that's part science fiction, part slow-motion nightmare. And once again, the lesson is clear. Space will mess you up. So what have we learned? Radiation is bad, science is dangerous, and if a mysterious doctor offers you an injection, maybe pass. Whether it's werewolves, walking fungus, or ooze that used to be your neighbor, one thing's for sure. In the 50s, becoming a monster was practically a side effect of living. If you enjoyed this monstrous mutation of a video, hit that like button, subscribe for more B-movie mayhem, and tell us your favorite man-turned-monster moment in the comments. Until next time, stay human, or at least try.